Gear up for Sports Talk on the South Carolina Radio Network. It's your final word on sports all across the state. Be a part of tonight's show. Call us at 800-956-7266 or email talkback@sportstalksc.com. Now here are your hosts, Phil Kornbluth, Kevin McCrary, and Tom Hayes.
The win last year was huge for my confidence, and then playing well at the PGA last fall kind of proved to myself that, hey, I can play golf at the major championship level.
I won 2 big midweek games this week when we were down a little bit, had to throw some guys in some spots that they hadn't been in. And I think we got 2 really good wins this midweek. We needed them, and we're going to go play a big series at Missouri.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome into Sports Talk South Carolina Radio Network. Thursday night edition. Phil Kornbluth on the road at an undisclosed location in the Western Hemisphere. Kevin McCrary and the professor. Is the professor in the studio?
Yes, the professor is in the house.
Sometimes he's gone on Thursday. Professor Tom Hayes in the studio with K-Mac, Kevin McCrary, Jar Mart, Jared Rogers-Martin, and Pat Daniel on hand as well as we the show's become so large. Jar Mart has expanded things so technically behind the scenes he needs another person in there to help him. So Pat Daniel back inside with us tonight as well. 800-956-7266 is the phone number. Email talkback@sportstalksc.com and on Twitter @SportsTalkSC. Hope everybody's had a great day. NBA Draft Combine beginning today for something to watch that I don't know if you'll find it entertaining or not. At least unlike the NFL Combine, the NBA Combine includes games. These guys are playing games constantly, while the ones who aren't playing games are doing various drills that are important. Basketball players. I saw a Drawn Blossom game a little while ago. He's ranked 60th among the eligible players for this draft. Have not seen Thornwell, have not seen Dozier just yet, or anybody else of local interest. Coming up tonight on the program, got a great show for you. We are scheduled to have with us here at the bottom of the hour Justin Minaya, who might one day be at the NBA Combine. We hope to hook up with him at 6:30. You never know when it comes to kids and their availability and their stick-to-itiveness with schedules. But hopefully 6:30 we'll have him. Mike Morgan tonight. Morgan on the move a little bit after 7 o'clock. 7:30, old friend David Shelton makes a return to Sports Talk. It is spring football time in high schools in South Carolina. Plus, it is high school baseball championship time and softball championship time in our state. We're heading towards the championship rounds, and we're going to talk with him about that coming up. So we've got a full show for you, a lot of great stuff, recruiting as well. First day of play in Jacksonville at the Players Championship. And Wofford's right up there at the top of the leaderboard after a 67, a shot back of Adam Scott. We'll give you a rundown of the leaderboard coming up. But good start for William McGurts in round 1. Guys, I had a chance to do a lot of thinking as I was driving around today.
Whoa. You did a lot of thinking?
Had a chance. I said had a chance to do a lot of thinking. I didn't say I did a lot of thinking.
Oh, you had a chance. So you didn't take that chance. You just had the opportunity.
Well, I had a chance to do a lot of thinking, and I did some thinking. Okay? I say I did a lot, but looking ahead to the upcoming football season and what could unfold in front of us. Very excited about the upcoming football season, of course, but in particular just looking at Clemson for this coming year and also talking to some people whose opinions I value when it comes to football in particular. And I'm telling you, there are people out there with great football knowledge who kind of feel like I do. And looking at maybe a 9-win season for the Tigers, maybe even 8, because there is reason for concern on the offensive side. Now, the defense, for the most part, should be outstanding. Defensive front, linebackers, maybe even more athletic with Boulware gone, a big loss in terms of his leadership and all that. But in terms of athleticism, when you plug in a Shaq Smith and a Trey Lamar, probably a step up there. Defense okay, but man, people concerned about the offense, the feeling that Kelly Bryant is not going to be the guy to get it done at quarterback, having to turn to a Hunter Johnson or a Zarek Cooper. No great running back emerging, even though I remind people Tavian Feaster was a great high school running back, but the concern is that he's not showed it yet. Plenty of good receivers. It would have to be, for the offense to be successful, a pass-heavy offensive football team for Clemson this coming season. So I don't know. I'm starting to think along the lines, maybe winning double digits games this year might be a little out of reach for this Clemson football team.
Well, Corn, I disagree with you. With the quarterback you got, if you're pass happy, that means you ready to put the ball in jeopardy. I think early on, I think Clemson is going to establish a running game. I really do. And they've got the athletes to run the football. I think last year they had a quarterback who could throw it all over the yard, who had the whole playbook. Why not use him? So that's what they did. But, I mean, there were times when you could look at Clemson off and just run it down people's throats if they wanted to, but they didn't choose to do that. I think this year, to give the defense a break and also to break in a new quarterback, K-Back, I think they're going to feature the run, especially early.
Yeah, well, running the ball and then relying on that defense would be a smart play. But remember, Clemson's offense is high speed, tempo, get as many snaps as you can in, and that's what their MO has been for many years now, from the time Chad Morris was there to the time that, of course, Deshaun Watson and Jeff Scott and Tony Elliott calling the plays. But my big issue with Clemson right now, my concern would be not only what you guys pointed out aptly with the new faces and all the new pieces on that offense that they have to replace, but the schedule is not a joke. And this year, I thought they had a tough schedule. Next year's even tougher. They have to go on the road and face Louisville. Game 2, they have an Auburn team that gave them all they wanted in the opener last year that should be really good this year. That's going to test that defense early in the season. And they play with a lot of tempo. And, they can wear you down. And Clemson's offense will be forced to score against a defense that's pretty salty there with Kevin Steele going back in the Death Valley. They have to go to Virginia Tech. They get Florida State at home. I keep saying this. Clemson's going to be picked third in their division in all likelihood at the ACC football kickoff. Mm-hmm. So they have their work cut out for them. And they have that big target. They always get everybody's best shot. That's what Dabo says, and nothing's going to change. But you get a better best shot when you are the defending national champs. Everybody wants to be the team to knock off the champ. So wherever they play, the fans will show up, and they want to be the team to knock off Clemson. So it's going to be very difficult.
And they're going to say the right things and talk the right way. But once you've won that championship, you fought so hard for it, especially after coming up short the year before. You come back with that intense hunger, chip on the shoulder, and you win that championship. I know some of those people are gone, but some are back, and some new people are stepping in. The mental state of the Clemson football team, that is something that remains to be seen, and you won't know for sure really until that Auburn game. How much do they want it? How hungry is this group? They're all going to say they're hungry. They're all going to say they've put last year behind them, flush that. It's a new team. It's new players, a new schedule. But just how hungry are they going to be as a group? How hungry are the coaches going to be as a group? Listen, it's human nature. After you've reached the mountaintop, it's human nature to be just a little bit satisfied and lose that edge. Nobody will blame you if that's the case, which makes Alabama's run under Nick Saban so amazing. The way he and the staff at Alabama have kept those players hungry and kept them motivated to keep them at the top of the SEC and at the top of the rankings nationally here going on for 5 or 6 years.
That's because
they're really tough.
That's because their second and third teams think they're just as good as the guy that's starting. And when they get their chance, they're hungry because they want to show what they want to do.
800-956-7266 is our phone number. What do you think? We're back in a moment. think Clemson, the games they're going to win this coming season are probably going to be in the neighborhood of like 23-20, 23-17. They averaged 39, almost 40 points per game last year. Could we see a drop-off of 10 or more points by the Clemson offense this coming season? And K-Mac touched on the schedule. And, yeah, I mean, Auburn, at Louisville, at Virginia Tech, even going up to Syracuse on a Friday night in a hostile environment against a little bit improving program. I think Syracuse is going into year 2 with their coach. Georgia Tech at home, a much improved NC State team on the road, Florida State at home, South Carolina on the road. Man, you might be looking at only an 8 or 9 or less win season for the Tigers. And this is a direct result. They have found themselves shorthanded at quarterback, not in terms of numbers, but in terms of experience. And it was bound to catch up with them at some point in time. They had the luxury, of course, for a while there, another quarterback ready to go. From Kyle Parker to Cole Stout to Deshaun Watson, Chad Kelly waiting in the wings. Kelly was ejected from the program. And, of course, Watson, a quarterback unlike any we'll see again at Clemson and maybe anywhere in our state. Though I think Jake Bentley, also wearing number 4, I think Jake Bentley is going to do all kind of great things at South Carolina and shatter all kind of records before he leaves. The quarterbacks they have coming in, waiting in wings now, talented, apparently, highly touted, no doubt, but inexperienced and being thrown right into the fire from day one. Not that Kent State's going to create much of a problem, but certainly that Auburn game will indeed expose whatever issues they're going to have on offense. You're going to see it when Auburn comes to town. Kevin Steele telling some people that I know up front, he feels like got a lot of Sunday players on his defensive line, a lot of big-time talent, and he feels like the secondary is exceptional. Linebackers a little bit thin, maybe a little bit inexperienced at linebackers, but up front in the secondary, big time. So, and then on offense at Auburn, they've got the quarterback who transferred, who's a proven commodity in Stidham, very good running back, and good up front. So, the second game of the year at home against Auburn, forget about Kent State. That'll be a walkover in all likelihood. The Auburn game will be the first true test, and then you hit the road and go to Louisville. So games 2 and 3 will be quite the test for Clemson. Hey, win those 2 games, and you change your entire opinion. But I don't see that happening as I sit here this afternoon. 800-956-7266 is our phone number. Email talkback@sportstalksc.com and on Twitter at SportsTalkSC. And listen, I mean, guys, the best teams take a step back occasionally while they age. Ohio State's happened to them. We've seen it with Oklahoma here over, now if you're an Oklahoma fan, you're sort of like, okay, even though they made the playoffs, they haven't gotten to the national championship game. They made the playoffs a couple of years ago. So maybe that calmed the fears there a little bit. But I'm sure their fans are expecting more than what they've gotten here at the end of the day. Southern Cal, of course, slid for a while. Now they seem to be bouncing back with their great quarterback. Same thing with Michigan. So it would not be a surprise if Clemson was a second or third place team in their division this year and had to settle for just your run-of-the-mill typical bowl game.
Well, the interesting thing is I think a team that has consistent success over a long period, the coaching staff, and primarily the head coach, in my opinion, develops how he thinks the personality of that team is going to look that year. For an example, let's go back a few years, and I'm talking about a lot of years, when Charlie Ward was playing for Florida State. This is the first time I noticed that Bobby Bowden did it. Charlie, I know you're learning. Throw all the interceptions you can, son, because we got a pretty good defense. Florida State won.
Mm-hmm.
Their defense graduated a lot of players. Charlie, you got the whole playbook. Take us home. And they won when he was experienced. But they won when he was throwing a bushel of interceptions because their defense usually took the ball back. And then as he became, immersed in the playbook, by his junior year, they would just outscore people. And so Bobby Bowden learned early on, okay, this is the personality. This team, I'm going to have to lean on my defense. Now his offense, I'm going to lean. Well, Dabo, I think, is astute enough to know that early on, hey, I'm going to have to lean on my defense. But I will say this, K-Mac, we saw early in that a couple of years ago when Dabo thought he had an offense and that defense had to save him at Louisville. But they got a lot of players, even unproven, that they get a little bit of confidence, they'll show some hunger. There's something about getting hit in the mouth early that makes you hungry all of a sudden.
Don't disagree with that. I mean, they're going to have their wake-up call when they play Auburn, and they're going to try and hit back, and they're going to try and counter whatever it is that Auburn throws at them. But I just think that unless Hunter Johnson or Zarek Cooper can step in with the maturity of a player beyond their particular years, I think it's going to have to, well, you say run heavy, but then you have to be concerned about the running backs. Tavian Feaster should be the guy, but he's not right now. Can C.J. Fuller be an every down, every carry back? He's not Wayne Gallman. Then you're talking about Adam Choice. Can he be it? I think Clemson has slipped right now a junior in high school, Tavian Feaster, is probably as good as anybody in the country. He had injury issues as a senior. I think he missed a game or two for whatever reason. Has not stepped up at Clemson yet to catch their eye to where they trust him as a every down back. I mean, he does have the great speed. We know that. But has Clemson taken a step back at running back where they don't have that dominant back who can give them 25, 30 carries a game? I don't know that they have that in their arsenal now. What they do have, and why I was saying they're going to be a pass-happy team, if you don't have that running back, but you do have those receivers, and that's one thing they do have. They do have a bevy of receivers still very talented. Why not throw the ball then? Why not load it up? And, if you have a quarterback, if it is Hunter Johnson, I don't think it'll be Kelly Bryant. I think they're going to do right by him and let him start out the season. But unless he materializes here over the summer as a much improved passer, I can't see him being the guy.
Well, why are we so quick to write him off? I mean, the guy has never. Well, for two guys that have never taken a snap in a college football game and haven't even been through an entire season in college, you're going to put your hopes on them over a guy that has played sparingly, but at least has been in the program and knows the offense and has some playmaking.
Well, but not. He doesn't have the combo skills that are required to run that offense at that level to win. From the little bit I've seen and from people that I've talked to, he's an excellent athlete. There's no questioning his athletic ability. But if you've watched him, and I have seen him in some games, and I've seen him in spring games as well, he tends to tuck it and run way too early to fit that offense with what they want to do, especially with those receivers. I can't see him being the guy, moving them down the road and being the guy who can win tough football games for them with what they want to do with their offense. He could prove me wrong. I just don't see it as we sit here in mid-May talking about it. All right, 800-956-7266 is the number, and hoping that we'll have Justin Minaya coming up for you after the break. We'll be right back. We are back, Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network, Thursday night. Phil Kornblut's on the road. Kevin McCrary, Professor Tom Hayes, back at our studios in downtown Columbia. Hoping to have Justin Minaya with us at this point. No success thus far, so we'll continue to work on that. In the meantime, I think we're going to go ahead and bring up Mike Morgan for Morgan on the Move here in just a moment. While we're waiting on that, today that Notre Dame's games against ACC teams have been scheduled now from 2026 through 2037. In fact, I've already booked my room up at Clemson for 2037 when the Tigers will host the Irish, and got a great rate in 2037, guys, at that Hampton Inn off I-85. They gave me the 2037 rate, which was $412 a night. So I've already booked that for 2037.
I've already booked my room for a senior living facility. If it's 2037,
Notre Dame has promised to play nice and play the ACC teams on through at least 2037, and they'll play at Clemson in 27. That's 2027. That's just so weird to say. The Tigers go to Notre Dame in 28. And on down the line, on 2031, make your plans now. Labor Day, Monday night of 2031, which is August 30th. Notre Dame at Clemson on a Labor Day Monday night in 2031. That's only 14 years away, people. It'll be here before you know it. Clemson goes back to Notre Dame on 2034, in 2034. And then 2037, the Irish back at Clemson. Like I said, I've already got a room booked at $412 a night.
Dabo Swinney's already began installing the game plan for that matchup in 2037.
See, in 2037, Dabo will be, that's 20 years from now, he'll be in almost his 30th year at Clemson. How many championships will he have won by then?
19.
Anyway, that's just something to plan for in the future if you're one of those people who always likes to look forward. We have to sometimes take a step back and punt. You don't always get the first team. You always can always bring in the second team. Thus, we welcome Mike Morgan for another edition of Morgan on the Move to Sports Talk. Not that Mike takes a back seat to anybody. He's brought to you by Play It Again Sports in Columbia, where you can find everything you need in the way of golf equipment, fitness equipment, water sports, and more. Bauer Parkway in Harbison. And by Founders Federal Credit Union. Check out foundersfcu.com. Learn how they can assist you in all of your financial needs. Good time to have Mike with us because he's going to be on the air here in about an hour on ESPN2 for what should be an excellent game tonight. And for the next 3 nights, it's the series between Auburn and LSU, 2 of the top teams in the West. Mike, how are you?
I'm doing well, guys.
How's your weather look?
It's good here for today. We've got tonight's broadcast, and then we've got Saturday. And as of right now, it's only supposed to rain on Friday. So the only thing that'll be affected will be our tee-off time tomorrow.
Yeah, that's right. Got to get the tee time in there. Now, along just great, having a terrific season.
Did we lose Corn? Did he disappear just like Auburn did during the weekend series against Alabama? Is that what happened? All right. Mike, I think he was going to ask
I'm
you.
Here.
Okay, yeah, Mike's still here at least. Corn's gone. He's disappeared. We'll get him back on the line. But I think Corn was going down the path of getting your take on that series where Auburn just took the gas. A bad Alabama team.
Yeah, I think that's the direction a lot of people are going, is just trying to figure out what exactly happened, including head coach Butch Thompson. But talking to him earlier on the field, he looks at it the way I think a lot of coaches have to look at it. You're going to have a series, no matter how good you are, no matter how well you're playing. When you play 10 conference series in the SEC, you're going to have one where you just spit the bit, and you just got to shake it off and bounce back. You don't have a lightweight opponent to bounce back against, though. When you're playing at the box at LSU, a team that's one game out of first place, and they're trying to prove some things in their own right. So it'll be a great test. It's 2 teams that are in this jumble here where we've got 7 teams within 2 games of first place. I mean, it's the best conference race I can recall in covering SEC baseball for the last 18 years. So we'll learn a little bit more about the race based on what happens this weekend in this series.
And we know USC has its work cut out for them. Here's the question, the magic number for any SEC team to get in the NCAA tournament. It's some debate whether that's 15 wins or 16 wins. What do you think the magic number is to get into the postseason if you're an SEC team?
Well, I think the answer is always different for every team. We used to have those magic numbers back in the day when everybody kind of played the same out of conference schedule or just about, and we kind of clung tightly to those so-called magic numbers. I don't think it's the case for South Carolina because the out-of-conference schedule is one of the most difficult. So they're going to be helped by that. That's why, as of right now, even with a a conference mark of 2 games under 500, you look at all the projections and everybody has them in the tournament. That's what you get when you play a Clemson 3 times and when you play in North Carolina and so on and so forth. So they've got all the other things to help a bubble team break through and get in. But obviously you have to play well in the final 6 conference games at Missouri and Georgia. And then, the wild card is always the SEC tournament. So we could sit here and play a guessing game. What's the magic number? Is it 15? Is it 14? But there's too many other things at play. I do think if they play the way they're supposed to in the final 6, I think you're talking about a team that just gets in. Obviously, it's not going to be at home. But at this point, they're less worried about the location and more worried about just getting in and making it to another postseason.
Well, Mike, looking at individual awards, I guess when Mississippi State plays, I normally, if I'm home, I just turn on to see this guy they always talk about, Brent Rooker. It seems that I don't know, maybe his bat just seems to find the ball all the time. But how good is this guy, and how good can he be? Does he look like a major league guy to you?
Yes, he does. We've got a guy in this series, tonight for LSU, and Greg Dykman, who any other year would be the talk of the league. But he's second in just about every category behind Brent Rooker, because Brent Rooker has played like Babe Ruth. He's got a chance to win the first Triple Crown in the league, I believe, since Rafael Palmeiro. And he's also got a chance to lead the league in stolen bases, win the quadruple crown. He's a great athlete. He just has gotten better year by year. He's going to be a high draft pick. And when you talk to people, scouts and otherwise, everybody seems to be on the same page that you're going to see him on a major league roster sooner rather than later.
And I believe we have Corn back with us on the line.
Yes,
welcome back, Corn.
Great stuff. I'm just sorry that my phenomenal question was not heard. We won't turn back the clock.
Yeah, we got it in
there since you have moved forward. Mike Morgan is with us. Morgan on the move, and a quick word on South Carolina as they head out to Missouri. Mike, they had a couple of nice wins this week, though it came against Big South teams that played them close. But they're 2 pretty good teams. But it looks like they've got a little bit of confidence going into this Missouri series and starting to get some guys a little bit more. What do you see for the Gamecocks here down the home stretch with 6 league games to go?
Well, I think you're playing Missouri at the right time. They've dropped 8 out of 10. I had them earlier when they were kind of they and Kentucky, the surprise teams in the league, but they've been humbled a little bit. Everybody knows about Tanner Houck and how good he is. They've got an outstanding closer. But their lineup is not scary good, and the rest of their pitching staff is not scary good. So I think it's a favorable matchup. It's not exactly an intimidating crowd in Columbia, Missouri, I can tell you that. So you just go there and you take care of business, take 2 out of 3, and then you'll be certainly favored at home 3 games against Georgia.
All right, hang on, Mike.
I think
hit
the
a
road
break,
looks
and
pretty
we'll
good.
come back and let you talk about Clemson and Louisville, too. Get your thoughts on that big series at Doug Kingsmore this weekend. Mike Morgan with us. Morgan on the move tonight. He's down at LSU. Back in a moment.
I think it's confidence. It's he's fighting himself a little bit. So he's got great stuff. His velocity.
Okay, we're back. Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network. Mike had to leave us, got called away for a production meeting leading up to his broadcast tonight on ESPN2, LSU, and Auburn. So you want more Mike Morgan? Why, by golly, you can get him there on television tonight beginning at 7:30. I think we had enough of him anyway. So we shoved him off to television and wish him well in his broadcast tonight. South Carolina, we talked about the Gamecocks going into the break there. The Gamecocks rallying last night to beat Liberty. They were down 6-1 in that game. And to their credit, they chipped away. Middle relief did a nice job. Got some home runs. Destino had 5 walks, a school record 5 walks, but that's viewed as a positive with him because it's showing more plate discipline and patience. And they think that's kind of where he is now. And sort of, I was alluding to Mike, some of the players starting to pick it up a little bit. Destino, one of those guys, starting to find his groove, I think, some as they head down the stretch, and none too soon as far as South Carolina is concerned. One guy they need to get back in top form is closer Tyler Johnson. Had a little bit of a shaky outing last night, and afterwards, Chad Holbrook was asked about Johnson and getting him back right for the home stretch of SEC play.
I think it's confidence. It's he's fighting himself a little bit. So he got great stuff. His velocity's still ticking, and we just gotta get him feeling a little bit better about himself, and I'm sure he will. He's gonna get some big outs for us.
Alex with 5 walks tonight. How much of his turnaround has been his plate discipline and not chasing pitches?
Patience is very important to him, and when he's not going good, he's swinging at pitches all over the place. And his last games that he's produced some runs for us, he's stayed in the zone. And if he attacks pitches in the strike zone, he's so big and strong, he's going to do a lot of damage. So plate discipline is a huge part of Alex's offensive game. And when he gets too aggressive, he gets outside of himself and swings at strike balls that aren't in the strike zone, and the strikeout totals go up. Now he's in the zone in which he's not chasing pitch out of the strike zone, and the strikeouts are down and his walks are up. And on top of that, his productivity's up because he's swinging at pitches in the strike zone so big and strong, the ball flies off his bat. So he's in a good spot right now. It's good to see.
How would you say these 2 wins help the team flush the LSU series and get you in the right mindset for Missouri?
I don't think our kids really think the LSU series was I think they played pretty good, and so I think these 2 wins are on itself, stand alone as good wins and create some momentum. And if we'd have lost those 2, piggybacking the tough loss on Sunday, I think you're right. There's 3 tough losses, but to play our 6 most important games and not feeling real good about ourselves. But these wins created a little bit more momentum, and I think honestly it builds on a little momentum. I think playing at LSU and the way that we played gave our guys a little confidence, and I just got that from, it's not nothing I can say why. I just felt like they were in position to win, and I think they felt like they could easily won. So I think they're in a good spot right now mentally, and they think, and I think that maybe our best baseball's in front of us. If it is, we can play for a while.
You had three guys try to put down sacrifice bunts at one point tonight or another, and none of them got down. Does there come a point in the season where you just scrap trying to bunt altogether?
Well, I'm stubborn, if we weren't hitting 268 as a team, I would bunt a lot less. But since we don't hit very well, and some of our batting averages aren't through the roof, then I got to try to get runners at third with less than 2 outs, because it is easier to bunt than to get a base hit. So, especially with our batting averages. So we got to keep working on it. We're kings in practice. We're Hall of Fame bunters in practice, but let's go on. I don't know what it is. It's unbelievable. We bunt when we hit, and we're good at it, but we're not good at it when we need to be good at it. So that being said, I'm not going to quit bunting if the situation calls itself, and we got to get those bunts down, because we're going to win a one-run tight game, and it's going to be because of we don't put enough hits together, and we have to move runners, and that's disappointing. And but we're going to keep working at it. Not going to give up. Not going to throw in the white towel yet.
Okay, Chad Holbrook, I tell you have to appreciate his honesty, guys. I mean, he is one thing he's been throughout this entire season. One, supportive of his players. You've never heard him say anything except positive things about his players. Yeah, he has said things like, some guys have got to pick it up, we got to play better here. He hasn't criticized his players by name, though. He hasn't called anybody out. He constantly is, like he said, for Danny Blair, Danny Blair started from the bench. A great kid. Love the kid. Same things that he has said about Destino when Destino was struggling. He had to take him out of the lineup, but he always said, I love the kids, one of my favorite kids ever. He has maintained a positive attitude throughout this up and down season. And he's also been forthright in admitting the shortcomings of this baseball team. And K-Mac has been duly noted here many times. The bunting part of the offense has left a lot to be desired.
Yeah, to me, they're just guys that don't look real comfortable handling the bat. And, it's great they're doing it in practice, but is it easier to lay a bunt down than get a base hit? Yeah, but at least when you're swinging the bat, you can have a productive out. And if you try to bunt twice and get 2 strikes and then you end up striking out, that's not a productive out. You're better off letting the guy swing and put a little pressure on the defense to make a play. So they have to execute those a lot better, and they haven't gotten better as the season progresses. So you might need to rethink who you're asking to bunt and when, and try to mix it up a little differently. I know they did try a hit and run last night. It didn't work with Destino on the bases to get the runners moving and try to generate some offense that way. But they're just not real good station to station. They don't have a lot of speed on their teams, and they get thrown out stealing a lot. They don't execute on bunts a lot. So those are things that have to be corrected. I do think it's very encouraging if you're South Carolina to see, especially last night when they were down 6-1, the way the season's gone, that would have been an easy point to just mail it in. But they stormed back in the 5th inning, where they have been unbelievable. If you go back and look at most of their big innings have been in the 5th. Yes. They've scored a lot of runs in the 5th inning, but getting those runs on the board, the home runs, the power, Cortez, Destino, that's what they need to get a little confidence going and maybe go out and win a series against Missouri and finish strong against Georgia and go into Hoover, where traditionally they haven't played well, and win a few games there and get into the postseason and then just see what happens. This isn't uncharted waters for the Gamecocks, guys. I was looking it up today. It's not like the Gamecocks have been in a tight situation in the last couple of weeks of the season. In 2008, they only finished with 15 SEC wins, and they got their 15th on the Sunday at home against Tennessee when Reese Havens hit a 2-run homer in the bottom of the ninth to give them a 10-8 win that got them into the SEC tournament. That team ended up going on the road and losing in the Raleigh regional, but it's not like they've never been in this spot before. Now, if they don't finish strong and win enough games and miss the postseason, then they're in uncharted waters.
Well, I think the Kentucky game that Friday was an anomaly because, Cohen, I can't remember a game that South Carolina didn't have a chance to win down the stretch, but for whatever reason, they haven't been able to close out games. And I agree with Coach Holbrook that they really did look very competitive at LSU and could have easily won all 3 ball games. They just couldn't get it done. But last night, that might have been just the tonic they needed to have a comeback victory the way they did it, coming from 5 runs down.
Okay, we'll hit the top of the hour break, give you some recruiting on the other side, and much more. Sports Talk on a Thursday night. We'll be right back.
Live from Columbia, this is Sports Talk on the South Carolina Radio Network. Be a part of tonight's show. Call us at 800-956-7266 or email talkback@sportstalksc.com. Now, here are your hosts for Sports Talk, Phil Kornblut, Kevin McCrary, and Tom Hayes.
We're back. Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network, Thursday night edition. Phil Kornblut, along with Kevin McCrary and the Professor Tom Hayes. Recruiting coming up for you in a few minutes. We'll talk more baseball as well. David Shelton at the bottom of the hour. We'll also update what's happening in Jacksonville at the Players. Ponte Vedra, to be more specific, where your leader right now is Bill McGirt and Mackenzie Hughes. They share the lead at 5 under. McGirt is in with a 67, and Hughes is playing the 18th at 5 under. So Wofford's William McGirt could very well be standing alone with the lead after one round of the Players here before the day is over. Now, as previously promised, we try to deliver here on Sports Talk, deliver like a good point guard, making that assist, that next pass to the big shooting guard who's going to knock down the three. That is us passing the ball to future Gamecock big guard Justin Minaya from Harrington Park, New Jersey, as he joins us now here on Sports Talk. Justin, how are you?
I'm good. How are you guys?
We're great. We're great. Thank you for joining us. Congratulations on your decision to head to South Carolina. Kind of take us through the process. It sped up for you here over the past couple of weeks, and you ended up going with the Gamecocks. Give us the background on how it all came together.
Definitely. About a month ago, actually, when Dozier declared for the draft, actually, that Coach Martin actually called me and said that they're very interested in me and then they're going to come watch me play in AAU. So when he came to go watch me, he played really good, and he obviously liked what I could do on the floor. So, and then after that, then the recruiting process kind of got a little more intense, and then they offered me a scholarship. So took a visit, and I loved it. So.
Now, before the Gamecocks got heavily involved, who else was primarily on your radar that you were considering?
Seton Hall from around here, Illinois, also a little bit, even UMass a little too. So.
Then you also considered maybe a year in prep school to mature, maybe get a little stronger, but you opted to go ahead and go with South Carolina. What made the difference there when you were weighing the option between going to USC and going to Brewster Academy?
Yeah, well, the plan was really to play AAU and see what other schools whatever other schools that I would like to even, because my main focus was to play was to go to college this year, but I didn't really have too much interest in any of the schools I had. But when South Carolina came, I just felt that was an opportunity that I couldn't really run away from. So,
yeah, with the Gamecocks making the Final Four this year, how much of that success, played a role in them, getting onto your list after they contacted you, and the fact that they had been to the Final Four, did that make a difference in how you viewed them from that first contact moving forward?
Oh yeah, no doubt. They obviously had such a great successful year last year, and I know that also that they have a lot of momentum going into the future. Also, after that year, there's going to be a lot of hype with them. So, and I just liked it. I liked it even if they didn't make the Final Four. I really just liked the school. I liked the people there. I liked all the teammates, all my teammates. So.
We are talking with Justin Minaya out of New Jersey, headed to South Carolina to join the Gamecock basketball team. What did Coach Martin, in your conversations with him and your conversations with Coach Clark and others, what did they say they liked about you and how they see you fitting in with what they like to do?
Yeah, I'm definitely a big guard. I'm definitely a versatile player who I can do a lot of different things. I can guard a lot of different positions, and also I can shoot the ball pretty well. So that was probably the biggest thing about me that they liked. I'm also pretty long. I'm a pretty big wingspan, so I can do a lot of different things on the court.
We've got you at 6'7" now. Are you still growing?
Hopefully. I'm not sure yet, but I hope so.
I mean, how tall do you want to become? 6'7" should be good enough.
If I can get to 6'8", 6'9", that's pretty good too. But 6'7" is good.
Yeah. So, I mean, even if you grow a couple more inches and become 6'9", are you still more of a perimeter player, or would you develop into more of an inside player?
Right now, I mean, I'm still pretty comfortable playing on the perimeter. So I think that was one of the things also that coach liked, that I'm pretty much like a big guard. So I think I'd like to just stay on the perimeter really. But
Sure.
Whatever will help the team, will matter most.
Far, watching Frank Martin, as you no doubt did, especially as the Gamecocks went through the tournament and got to the Final Four, watching his demeanor and the way he coaches his team and the way he deals with his players after a mistake or whatever, coming off the court, going to the bench. I'm sure you've seen it. What do you think of that? How will you react to a coach who is pretty loud and pretty much in your face when you do make a mistake on the court?
Yeah. Really, I think of it as like he's really just trying to make me better. Like he really just wants the best for me, I think, and I feel like he wants to win so bad, and that's really what I like, that I want to do too. So that really won't bother me as much. Cause I just know that he wants the best out of me. He knows I can be doing better when I make a mistake.
Now, considering your dad and his position in the sports world, I'm wondering, why aren't you throwing fastballs and curveballs?
Yeah, I get that a lot. Actually, I started out playing baseball. Baseball was my favorite sport. But I just started to grow a little bit, and I started getting a little better at basketball. I kind of took over with basketball instead of baseball. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
What'd your dad think of your decision, coming down south, getting away from home like you will be? What were your parents' attitude about going to South Carolina?
Yeah, they actually loved it too. It's obviously kind of far, but once they met with all the people from the school, they're more than satisfied with my decision for sure.
Yeah, of course, your dad is working with the Padres now. Is he out in San Diego a lot, or is he able to stay on the East Coast and do his job?
Well, he's actually not working with the Padres anymore. He stopped working with them two or 3 years ago. Now he's working with the Players Association, with the MLB Players Association. So he's actually working in New York now. So another reason why he took that job was just to be with me throughout like the recruiting process and everything, and being able to just help me out. So
very good.
He's home a lot more now.
That's good. That's good. When do you plan to sign your letter of intent with the Gamecocks and send it into and make it official?
Yeah, I'm actually signing tomorrow. Tomorrow around 12 o'clock, I'll be signing and in my school. So.
All right, very good. Well, congratulations once again, Justin, and we appreciate you being on with us tonight. Enjoy the rest of your summer. When do you report to South Carolina? When does Coach Martin want you within his arm reach?
Around June 26th, around there. So.
Okay, very good. About a month away. Well, good luck. Enjoy what little bit of summer you'll have, and we look forward to covering you with the Gamecocks.
Yes, sir. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Justin Manine, 7, out of Old Tappan High School, Harrington Park, New Jersey. He might grow to be 6'9". Big guy with guard skills. That's a coach's dream right there if you can knock down some shots.
Yeah, anytime you can have a big your height does help you as far as passing lanes are concerned, the further you get away from the hoop. Also, it's interesting, I think, if I'm not mistaken, because he's from that area, he may have played 1 year of AAU ball with Rakeem Felder. So it's not like he's going into a team where he doesn't know anybody. So I think he and Felder played some in AAU ball a couple of years ago.
So he'll have a familiar face with him, and somebody who speaks the that New York language, from up in the Northeast corridor, and they come down here to the South.
And I think he's left-handed too, like Rakeem Felder.
Oh, okay. Interesting to see two left-handers in the backcourt at the same time. I'm sure that works just as well. 800-956-7266, our number here on Sports Talk. We'll be right back. All right, thanks again to Justin Minaya for being with us tonight on Sports Talk. Sounds like a really nice kid, and I think he's going to have a very bright future with South Carolina basketball over the next 3 or 4 years, no doubt about it. Let's continue that with more recruiting, including in basketball. South Carolina's not done yet, people. 6'5" Wright State grad transfer Mark Allstork on his official visit to Illinois today, which was not on his original lists, but he's put it in there. He's there today. He's also been to Pitt and Georgetown. He confirmed to us today he will visit USC Saturday. He's also scheduled to visit LSU May 15th. He plans to make his decision known on May 20th. So further shakeup of the USC basketball roster, makeover of the roster for 2017-18 will be ahead. I mean, you add Justin Minaya to the list, and that gives them 5 in the incoming class to go along right now with 9 returnees. So let's see, 4 plus 5, carry my 1. That's 9 plus 5 is 14. That's 1 over the limit. So if they add another, that'll be 2 over the limit. K-Mac, what are they going to do?
I bet you it works out. Just a prediction. I bet it works out.
Probably so. Probably so. I'm sure they are recruiting with a plan in the back of the mind that they haven't shared with anybody. Time for you. Running back Master Teague, Murfreesboro, Tennessee, trying to get some clarity in his recruiting so he can get down to a final 3, but more offers are adding to the confusion. Last night, Notre Dame offered him. An Irish offer normally causes a recruit to pause and take notice. That might happen with Teague. USC and Clemson also remain as contenders. The Gamecocks have offered. The Tigers have not. Teague said only offering schools will make his final list. He said South Carolina has been by to see him twice this spring. Bentley came in both times. Clemson has been by once and was going to be in today for a second time. Jeff Scott was in the first time. Tony Elliott was due in today. His spring practice ends on Friday. Then he'll sit down with his family, talk about the schools, and start to narrow things down. He has been strong on USC throughout the process, as the Gamecocks were one of his early offers. Despite not offering, Clemson also has been among his favorites. While some reports state Teague is more inclined towards Auburn or Tennessee or Georgia, he said the Gamecocks and Tigers are still right there. No change in how he feels about them at this time. Both good programs where he can fit in and thrive. So he's going to sit down with the family, do the pros and cons, and hopefully make some decisions. He wants to get to a top 3, but he said if you haven't offered, you're not going to make his short list. Only teams who have offered him will survive on his cut, which makes sense, of course. Gaffney quarterback Tyson Surratt was offered by Rutgers. 2019 defensive back receiver Britton Allen of Orlando offered by USC. USC also offered 2019 defensive back Andrew Booth Jr. of Lawrenceville, Georgia. And USC offered 2019 Harry Miller, offensive lineman Harry Miller of Buford, Georgia, 6'4", 290. And USC offered 2020 receiver Jermaine Burton of Hapeville, Georgia. One thing about Muschamp and the staff, they're not shy about handing out offers. I think I mentioned this a week or two ago. In this 2018 recruiting class that they are now working, they've got over 200 offers out to players. And it's starting to build in the 19 class. I guess right now, volume recruiting is what you do if you're South Carolina. Clemson's a lot pickier right now. They're a lot more selective as to who they offer. South Carolina, selective, but also offering in bulk because they have a much greater talent gap to try to fill in. One more note, tight end John Fitzpatrick of Atlanta was offered by Alabama. He also has a USC offer. All right, there you go with recruiting. We remind you to check out our recruiting all the time on our website, SportsTalkSC.com. If you're a Twitter type, use the hashtag STRecruiting to find our recruiting information on Twitter, and also, of course, links to other stories that we find interesting to USC and Clemson and in-state recruiting. All right. What do you have, K-Mac? You got something. I know something up your sleeve.
Well, yeah, you're not going to be here tomorrow for our Has Corn Seen It segment what we unfurled last week when we play clips from famous sports movies. We're keeping it to sports movies right now. We may branch out down the road to see if you've in fact seen it, because Corn has not seen movies that he should see and has seen movies many times over that he should not have seen, i.e. Open Water.
Can't I be the judge of what I see?
You can quote Open Water till the cows come home, but you can't name a line from Hoosiers. Anyway, let's go to tonight's movie, a famous sports movie that 99% of our audience has probably heard.
Hurry up, batter. It's going to be a short game, and I got to get home for lunch. If my dog was as ugly as you, I'd shave his butt and tell him to walk backwards. The heater. Here it comes. I tell you. Strike 3, you're up. Hey, is that your sister out there in left field? Naked? Shut up, Porter. Hey, I'm just trying to have a little friendly conversation. Come on. Think she'd go out with me?
All right, there's the first clip, an extended clip, Corn. Do you know the movie?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know
Do
the movie?
I know the movie?
Yeah.
I'm just going to take a guess. Since you're doing sports movies that seem to have a baseball theme to it and a Little League theme to it, so I'd have to say the Bad News Bears.
Good guess, but incorrect. Let's give him another clue. Let's give him another clue. Let's give him another clue.
No, you want a s'more? I haven't had anything yet, so how can I have some more of nothing? Shut up! You're killing me, Smalls.
All right, that's a pretty big giveaway. You still drawing a blank? Is
The Life and Times of Biggie Smalls?
No, incorrect. Let's play the final clip.
I said you shouldn't even be allowed to touch a baseball. Except for Rodriguez, you're all an insult to the game. Come on! We'll take you on right here, right now. Come on! Yeah, you playing a real diamond, Porter. You ain't good enough to lick the dirt off our cleats. Watch it, jerk. Shut up, idiot. Moron. Scab eater. Butt sniffer. Pus licker. Fart smeller. You eat dog crap for breakfast, geek. You mix your weeds with your mama's toe jam. Yeah! You bob for apples in the toilet. And you like it.
It's pretty gross.
You play ball like a girl.
Woo!
Shouldn't have said that.
If there's
You
any,
can't say that.
maybe
not say that.
those are fighting words. If there's anybody, maybe somebody out there listening can help you, Corn. So if somebody out there wants to give Corn some help, if you recognize the movie, 800-956-7266, or you can tweet at us at SportsTalkSC.
It's a baseball movie.
It
right?
is. Well, you did get that part of it right. It is definitely a baseball movie.
One more shot. One more shot.
Well, that's all the clues. We give you 3. I mean, we gave you 3 really good clues.
I've only given you 2 answers.
Yeah. So what's your one more shot? What's your last guess?
Field of Dreams. Field of Dreams.
No. Well, we'll just throw out a verbal hint. If you're playing a pickup baseball game, where do you play?
Yeah, well, let's see if well, you're giving away the. Do we have a caller that certainly somebody out there will help Corn? Do we have somebody?
I have no idea. Which.
All right, here we go. Let's go to the caller, and somebody we'll let you phone a friend here, Corn.
Phone a friend.
You're on the air.
Okay, Phil, this is Joel in Merle's Inlet. Sandlot is the movie.
There you go.
There you
Joel
go.
knows his movies.
Ding, ding,
The
ding.
Sandlot. You've never heard of The Sandlot? Of course not. Can you believe that, Joel, that he's never heard of The Sandlot?
I don't really go to anything that's not rated R. Is that rated R?
No, it's not rated R.
Yeah, but you could have seen it on a bunch of cable channels by now.
So Corn now 1-1 on Has Corn Seen It. He did get Caddyshack right, but he could not correctly name The Sandlot, which he has not seen. We'll be right back.
Correct. All right. All right, we're back. Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network. Surviving another edition of Stump the Chump on movie stuff. We are working to get David Shelton. Keep trying him there, Jarmark, because he's supposed to be with us at this time. Should be with us. So keep trying him. We'll get him. You guys also did a little something I saw. I got a link of a picture of somebody on a shark.
Yeah.
With my face superimposed on it or something?
Well, I don't know. It's superimposed. There's been a big mystery about who that guy is, and it looked a lot like Jim McElwain, Florida's coach, and he has gone on the record saying it's not him.
So we did some more investigation, and I
it-
got the computer out.
We enhanced that and zoomed in on it. And Corn, you have to answer the question. Why did you, A, catch a shark, and B, strip naked as the day you were born, jump on top of said shark, and pose for a picture?
Yeah. I saw that, and thank you for bringing that to my attention.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not exactly quote, but to refer to a comment that Tommy Bowden made several years ago when he was asked a question about a picture of his alleged picture of his daughter,
Mm-hmm.
and the way he discounted that will be how I discount this, and that is the tan lines don't match. Okay, it's just not. Now, he was talking about his daughter, which was kind of icky, if you ask me. I'm talking about me.
Yeah.
But the tan lines don't match.
It's
I
found a
prefer-
way to make it more icky. I mean, that it was a different kind of icky, but I think this image is even more icky.
Well, I mean, considering that I prefer the European style Speedo swimwear, and that doesn't, you look at that picture and it doesn't reflect somebody who wears European style Speedos.
If you listen closely, you can hear half of our audience upchucking right now, dry heaving, wherever they're listening to the show.
All right. Please tell me we got our buddy David Shelton on the line to save us from ourselves. David Shelton, how the heck are you?
Dude, I don't know what I just walked in on.
You don't want to know. Believe me.
Turn around and walk out.
When I hear Cornblue say the word Speedo, I got chills.
Yeah.
It was bad.
Not the good kind either.
No.
Hey, David, good to have you back with us, man. Good to hear your voice. And I thought it'd be a good time to have you on to talk about a couple things. High school in South Carolina cranking up and baseball winding down. So let's start with the football, and we're underway, I guess, pretty much throughout the state with high school spring practice. What do they get? 2 weeks of practices in the spring?
You get 12 days. So basically what most people do are 3 days a week for 3 weeks, but most of them they're hitting the home stretch now. The first 3 days, I think you can only do shorts and helmets, that kind of thing. And after that, you can go into the contact full pad stuff. So it'll all be, most of them will be wrapping up by this time next week.
You hearing some interesting chatter you can share with us from across the state? Any significant news from one camp to the next?
Not really, because it's spring practice, and the coaches that I've chatted with a little bit have just been like, well, we're just trying to look for the new guys coming up, and we kind of know what the veterans are doing, so we're installing stuff for the new guys. And really it is kind of like an extended tryout type thing. And, you may have some rising juniors or seniors that were backups that now you need to get them into full beast mode, so to speak. And, a lot of schools are having spring games next week where they have like a spring scrimmage and they charge admission, raise a little money. But even in those, it's kind of like the college games. I don't think you're going to see the carry-on Joyner out there for 4 quarters during the spring game.
Yeah. In the 5A ranks for this coming season, anybody got anything for Dutch Fork? Is it safe to expect Dutch Fork to be the team to beat in the state?
I would think. I think with Bryce Thompson going back over there, that certainly makes them a legitimate player. They got to find a quarterback, but Tom Knotts usually has no issues finding that. I think Fort Dorchester is going to be good again. I think Westside, Scott Early's got it going on up there. The usual suspects, Northwestern. I think Somerville will be improved. Not sure if they're improved enough to a top 10 level, but I think, with their quarterback returning and their top receiver and some linemen, I think Somerville is primed to make a positive step. But the same people, Sumters, the people like that, they're all going to be year in and year out pretty good. But the teams that have quarterbacks returning are going to be the ones that are going to be legitimate players, because the quarterback is so important in high school. And DeCarrion Joyner's one of the best in the state, so I would think Fort is going to be right up there with the Dutch Forks, and they play each other in the regular season. So in fact, Dutch Fork's non-conference schedule, they open with Dorman, and then they play somebody, and then in week 3 they play Dutch Fort. So Ford is definitely up the schedule in terms of playing big teams. That's a pretty good schedule to start with.
Absolutely. What about Gaffney with Surratt at quarterback, Dennis Smith wide receiver? Very electric combination there. You see Gaffney being a big-time factor?
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, I think some of Gaffney's issues last year were on the defensive side, but they're going to shore that up. They got better as the year went on, but offensively, they're going to be able to score. Gaffney just seems to always find a running back, a guy that's going to get you 1,200 yards and score 20 touchdowns. And now they have, with Surratt back and as you mentioned, Dennis back, I think they're going to be certainly a top 10 team, but probably, what I would call a serious contender.
What about Burns? Does Burns return with a new coaching staff? Do they return to a prominent place in the state?
That's going to be interesting to see. I think they're going to be competitive. I think they're going to be better than they were last year. I mean, it hit rock bottom last year, but there was a reason for that, and I don't think it was all coaching. I don't think Brian Lane suddenly forgot how to coach football. Maybe the pipeline, dried up just a little bit, but maybe there's some good young kids coming. But I would expect Burns will maybe not the typical Burns, but certainly not a 2-9 type Burns.
What are you projecting for Marcus Lattimore in his first year at Heathwood Hall?
Well, depending on what the roster looks like by August, I'm sure that they, those SCISA schools in Columbia, they tend to find players from other schools that and I don't mean that in a negative way in terms of recruiting, but and I know the name Marcus Lattimore will attract some interest from other people. Ben Lippin made the big push last year, bringing in a bunch of new players, and they've got the quarterback from Chapin coming in, and he's a Division I prospect. Hammond is always good, and they've got their quarterback back. I think if Heathwood set their expectations at 6-4 or 5-5, I think that would be good. I think that would be enough, because they were really down last year. I mean, Marcus Lattimore might be the best coach in the history of high school football, but we don't know that. So he hadn't done it. And he's not at a school. He didn't inherit a program that was, one of the top in SCISA. So, we've got to give him some time. But I think over time, I think Marcus is going to do very well as a high school coach, especially at that level, at that school, because it's a really good school.
All right, very quickly, you want to run through the championship series in baseball. Just give me the winner as I call out the series. 5A, Northwestern, River Bluff.
I think I would take Northwestern just because of the pitching depth and their top 2 guys are rested because they didn't have to play 2 games last night. I would take Northwestern.
All right, just give me the winner here. We're running short. 4A, South Point, AC Flora.
I'm going to go AC Flora.
Okay. 3A, Seneca, Bishop, England.
Well, I don't know much. I mean, I know what I've read about Seneca, but you know what? I'm going to take Bishop England, but that's a toss-up for me.
All right, 2A, Latta, Fox Creek.
I hate to break your heart. I'm going to take Fox Creek, but should be a good series.
All right, and 1A, Louisville and Lakeview.
This will be a very good series, very competitive. I'm going to lean towards the Louisville. I think they got just a little bit better team, but it should be a good series.
Thank you, David. Always a pleasure. All right, here we go in 3, 2, 1. Running back Master Teague of Murfreesboro, Tennessee, picked up an offer from Notre Dame this week. Just another big-time school for him to consider. USC and Clemson do remain as strong contenders, though the Tigers have not yet offered. With the family soon and cut his list to a top 3, but Teague says only offering schools will make that list. USC recruiter Bobby Bentley's been through a couple of times this spring to see him. And Clemson recruiter Tony Elliott was in on Thursday. Gaffney quarterback Tyshawn Surratt was offered by Rutgers. In basketball, 6'5", Wright State grad transfer Mark Allstark is on an official visit to Illinois. He said he will be at USC this weekend for an official. He's also been to Pitt and Georgetown and is also looking at LSU. Phil Kornblut, South Carolina, Radio Network Sports. Radio Network Sports. Running back Master Teague of Murfreesboro, Tennessee, picked up an offer from Notre Dame this week. Just another big-time school for him to consider. USC and Clemson do remain as strong contenders, though the Tigers have not yet offered. He is going to sit down with the family soon and cut his. He is going to sit down with the family soon.
All right, this is Jared Rogers Martin with the SC Wild podcast. I'm sitting here with Glenn. How you doing, Glenn?
I am good. How are you, sir?
Now, Glenn, I'm doing all right. You know, you and I have got this summer business coming up, so that means that there's a lot of outdoor activities going on with the DNR. So things are starting to heat up for the two of us schedule-wise.
Just a little bit.
I was going on to investigate the fishing rodeo season. Someone told me you got to ride fishes at fishing rodeos, so I had to go check that out for myself. I learned that was not the case.
Not at all. There were probably a few catfish in the state that would give you a ride, but it wouldn't be a very good one, so it's not worth the trouble.
Yeah, well, you know, you could have told me that ahead of time before I drove out to Brosnan Forest, where I did get a chance not to ride a catfish as much as I would have liked to. But I got some great fishing advice, some from young kids out there. But before we go talk to the kids, fishing rodeo with the DNR, what do you do? Why does the DNR put these on?
We want to expose as many kids in the state as we can to fishing. And we've discovered that one of the really great ways to do it is to hold family fishing rodeos for kids to come out to either some of our properties or other landowners or businesses will sponsor fishing rodeos on their properties. And you take your kids out there, we hand them a pole with a line on it and some worms, all of it's provided, and they go catch a fish and they get pretty darn excited.
Yeah, well, here's Jason and his brother Silas telling me exactly play by play how they got their fish.
When I first hooked it, it was pretty hard to pull it up. I had to fight it a little, started swimming out. And swimming. It was fighting hard, really hard.
Like it was a gator hard?
Yeah.
And how many fish are you going to get today?
Well, I caught 3 already.
Caught 3 already? What kind of fish did you get?
I caught a bass and a baby herring. This one's a keeper.
Are you fishing too, Silas?
I caught a little tiny fish.
No, that was pretty representative. It was just, I would talk to one person and then little brothers or little sisters would come telling me about their big fish that they got, or at least the little fish from Silas.
Oh, that little guy sounded only slightly bigger than the little fish he managed to catch.
You know, I think they were probably about the same size. I mean, he was a little pipsqueak. Silas, not the fish. Well, the fish was small too. Although, are you a big fisherman?
I am not, and I feel so bad about it because it was the South Carolina Wildlife and Marine Resources Department when I first came on there, and later changed the name to the Department of Natural Resources. But I think I was the only one hired the year that I was hired that did not either hunt or fish. So I was playing catch up for quite a while, and I'm still not real good at either. But being around it that much, I got the basics down.
The basics. Well, I've got the basics pretty down pat, but Ryan, she caught 4 fishes that day. And that was more than most people were catching. I mean, she had only been out there for about 30 minutes, caught 4 fish, which was great odds.
The fish whisperer.
Ask me. Well, you know what? I wanted to go to her dad, Jimmy, to ask him what their family secret was to catch fish.
I can't tell you that, man. You want me to post that on the radio and stuff for everybody to hear? No, we ain't giving up our secrets for fishing. Sorry.
But y'all do have a family secret.
Yes, we got a family secret going on. All right, I'll tell you one thing. You got to lick the worm before you put it on the hook. Ryan's been licking them all day long today, haven't you?
No.
That was mostly just what it was. It was just a blast being out there hanging out. Everyone was having a good time.
Well, the kids go out there, and if it's the first time they've ever been fishing, of course, they get a big thrill because chances are they're going to catch a fish. I mean, we set it up so that they can have the excitement of catching a fish, but the parents are out there, and they get just a kick out of seeing the kids have a really good time.
Laid back environment, I would say. The parents were just kind of there. The kids were running the show.
Oh yeah,
it was the parents'
Well,
involvement.
it gives that appearance.
Minimal.
I'm sure someone was in charge somewhere.
we actually did talk to a couple kids who took issue with how much in charge the parents were. I mean, they were catching all of the fish, but they were upset that we had to take them back. Well, first in this cut, we're going to hear from Dean, who just wanted to tell me about all the different types of fish he knows how to catch.
Right now, my tactic, and probably his too, we're going for the shade because that seems to be where they are. So me and my friend, Tarleton, we're fishing with worms, and they seem to be working pretty well.
What kind of fish are you getting?
Brim, catfish, bass.
What do those kinds of fish look like? How can you tell the difference?
Brim, it has sort of a spike type thing on its back.
Does it spike you if you touch it?
Sometimes. Most of the times, actually. They have sometimes light colors.
What does a catfish look like? And you can get in here too.
Catfish has whiskers, obviously, about an inch when its mouth is fully open. And really, that's all I can describe of it.
And which one's the most fun to catch?
I don't know.
Catfish.
The catfish is the best?
In my opinion, the funnest ones to catch are when they're like wiggling around.
I like to catch all of them.
My favorite fish to catch is probably the catfish.
I like the fish that swim.
Yeah, there you go.
To me, that's pretty obvious. But I'm sort of disappointed we are not taking home 0 fish.
Why are you not taking any fish?
And we've caught like around 5 fish already. Every single one. Bloop. back in the pond.
Are you going to clean them? And why aren't you taking them home?
I don't know that. You have to ask Mr. Eric, Dean's dad.
Okay, well, let's interview him then. You can do it.
Why can't we take home a fish?
Because today I'm just teaching you guys how to fish, and it's just catch and release day today.
When are we going to have some fish taking home?
Very soon.
I can't really ask any more questions about that, but okay.
I say, Jared, when you fish, you use a certain tactic while as you approach the shade where the fish are.
I do. I make sure that I have my worm on my hook and then my hat on my head as I approach. So I too may be in the shade like the fish.
That was great. Oh my goodness. And we get, we're not only getting these kids outdoors, which is what we want, but we're getting them interested in the resource. And, that's our bread and butter. So yeah, we want kids, outside.
Well, it wasn't the kids that were only excited. Now, what would be a day out in the field without getting one of those great marketing quips?
Hit me, Jared.
Hit you? I'll hit you. Stephanie, unprompted, just says, hey, and you've talked to my kids, but I just want to say something about the DNR. So she has a message to you. Well, not specifically you, Glenn. I don't think she knows who you are.
I'll get over it.
DNR has taught us so much and encouraged us a lot to keep getting outdoors with all their events. And everybody working there, I wish I could remember the guys' names, were so patient and so kind to the boys and just taught us a lot about the biology and the engineering and the science behind the dam. The hook doesn't slap us in the face. But at the same time, I was really surprised their science degrees, a lot of them had marine biology degrees, and how they travel around and what they're doing. And they're just so purposeful in everything that they're doing to conserve. We just love it. We don't really see them as just running around wanting to hand out tickets. We really see that there's a reason and a purpose behind what they're doing.
Thank you very much, Stephanie. That's the nail on the head for us, and we appreciate it, and we're glad you brought your kids out that day.
All right, well, that's all we've got for this week. Glenn, thank you for stopping by, as always.
Always a pleasure.
All right, and have fun with your summer. Avoid the alligators.
And the
birds.
ticks and the mosquitoes, and incidentally, before I let Jared wrap up, it's going to be a bad season for ticks, so take all the precautions that you need to. There's also probably going to be more activity with the snake population in South Carolina this year because it was such a warm winter. So when you are outside and you're in a wooded area, please be aware of ticks and snakes and take all the necessary precautions.
We are really frightening people as we leave here.
It's the outdoors, man. Yeah, but you got to get dirty to have fun.
Boo. Have fun out there. All right, that's it for the SC Wild podcast. We'll see you next time. Bye.